Hey, well, let's see how this goes. Nothing like a tech issue to stop you when you're already drastically late for the show. But coming to you live from the fortified compound in Southern California. Hopefully, we can get out here. It's episode 116 of the big show. And yeah, I'm glad people are filing in. I appreciate that. I know we're late, but hey, as like I've mentioned before, I am taking care of an elderly father-in-law, and hey, doctor's appointments, things like this. Sometimes they run over, and when you're in California, you hit traffic no matter what street you're on. So, yeah, San Antonio, well, cool. Glad that you're tuning in. Like I said, it's episode 116. I don't even know what day it is. I haven't slept in 5 days. But I think, oh, it's June 12th. But it is Wednesday, June 12th. Glad to be with you here. I want to thank everyone for their continued support of the big show. I do appreciate the continued support there. I'm not going to name everybody because my head is in such a I'm so sleep deprived at this point that I can't remember too many names. So please don't take offense at that. I know it's Chris in California, and anyway, if you want to help support the big show, it's really needed. I do appreciate what you can do. You can do that at markstevens.net and at markstevens.sales.com. So if you're being attacked by a bureaucrat, proven strategy for success that has been replicated many times outside the United States. And so it's not just the United States, also success in Canada, documented successes in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and in England. And I think one of the best ones in England I've mentioned, Helen not only got against the prosecution for an abuse of process, they were not able to provide any evidence to support their foundational claim. And therefore, despite claiming that that the claim was valid, but they couldn't actually prove that. So, if you want being attacked by a bureaucrat, what we do at the Monroe State Project is take an anarchist view of it, or a skeptic, and that we're not going to accept something as true just because an authority figure says it, and then we're going to hold that that which can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. Of course, from Hitchens' razor, Christopher Hitchens. So that is right on point when we're talking about claims. And hey, if you're physically in Arizona, then their laws apply. This kind of crap. Maybe we could adjust that a little bit there. Now that I'm seeing the atrocious quality of the video, I just want to remind everybody I will be pulling the video down like I've been doing. It's just going to be audio only. It'll be pretty good audio, so everyone knows what I look like anyway. Anyway, back to the markstevens.net. Yeah, I have scripts and templates available. I just want to let you know that the scripts are not designed to just read them in court. So I always give instructions when somebody does purchase that. But the idea behind the script is to role play with it so that you get used to the flow of the questions, why you're asking the questions, and what your objective is. You have to know what the objective is so that you can have a logical set of questions there to meet that objective. So if you want to also join me here on the big show, it's 602-635-1974. That's 602-635-1974. The passcode is 2020 with the pound sign. Someone saying that the video quality is fine when refreshed. Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that. Typically is pretty horrific, though. At least from my end, it looks absolutely horrible. And it typically isn't in sync. I mean, it's fairly close to being in sync here, but that's another thing that it makes me crazy to see something. Mark's Dylan Shea is saying, did you read the Supreme Court ruling on First Amendment? I have not been able to do anything other than taking care of my father-in-law for the past week. Most of the time I've been the sole care provider 24 hours a day. So no, I have not seen that. I did make a couple of calls that I'll discuss here shortly, but some I want to. Okay, I don't know what happened. I tried to set up this. There it goes. I do some setting up for the big show. When Alex Knight on Facebook, he's been on the show. Alex Knight III. He's been on the show before. We need to get him back on. anarchist author, he tagged me in this story on Facebook. It had come up on Reddit on the Bad Cop No Donut, and of course I wanted to check to make sure what the facts were true. And this is kind of a rare thing. Again, I'm from Mesa, Arizona. I haven't been there in weeks. I won't be there for another few months. Man, I really can't wait to get back home. But this is about Mesa Police, and it says the Mesa Police unions vote overwhelmingly against supporting Chief Ramon Batista. Now, like the Facebook post, they voted no confidence in him, and it was overwhelmingly. I think it was something like 95% of. This is only 23 officers said they supported the chief. 95% of the 564 police employees who responded said they had no confidence in the chief's leadership. Now, the chief hasn't been accused of child molestation or anything like that. He hasn't been accused of murder. He hasn't been accused of embezzlement. He hasn't been accused of abusing his staff. This had to do with the fact that it says Batista is the third Mesa police chief in the past 9 years and was hired in the aftermath of the high-profile shooting of Daniel Shaver by then-officer Philip Brailsford. He quickly went about making changes aimed at installing a different culture in the department and rebuilding trust with the community. Oh, yeah, you see, I could see why the police union and 95% of the police didn't want it. How dare he come out and say that the police could have actually been guilty of something, that the police could do something wrong? Oh, the hometown hero. Despite Batista's efforts, the department has found itself responding to several high-profile use of force incidents involving its officers, including one where a group of officers repeatedly punched a man, Robert Johnson, in the hallway of an apartment complex. If you see the video, it is pretty brutal. Living in Mesa, I hear about this stuff all the time. I myself have been the victim of abuse by Mesa Police. My life has been threatened a number of times. I remember this big fat guy. What a show of strength that this guy could be here. What a tough guy. I am shackled hand and foot to a bench on a nonviolent traffic offense, all right? And this big fat, oh, what do we got? Oh, and is this another tech issue? Yeah. Gosh, I swear to God. I'm not getting it. All right, I guess the video is going to have to stay up, and I'll have to pull the audio down from that to be able to use for the podcast. So, wow, that really sucks. But what I can do is it's a lost cause now, everybody. I do apologize for that, but hopefully the audio is pretty good on the video, so I can just take that from the stream and then repost it. Union representatives have said officers were upset with how Batista handled that and other incidents, both in his statements and actions. The chief has called the level of force officers used in these situations troubling, and the union took issue with his decision to release body camera video to the public before an internal investigation was complete. Kudos to Ramon here for doing that. I mean, why shouldn't we, the public, why shouldn't we get to see the camera, the body cam footage? Today's announcement of no confidence in Chief Batista was not driven by any single incident, said Will Bioshia, president of the Mesa Fraternal Order of Police, in a statement. Instead, our hand was forced by more than a year of public attacks on a police officer's integrity, professionalism, and a disregard for officer safety. If you see the videos, you'd think that Chief Batista had a point. Regardless of the results of the survey and how they feel about their leadership, Mesa police officers still need to be held accountable for excessive use of force, such as in the case of Robert Johnson, attorney Benjamin Taylor, who represents Johnson in a civil rights lawsuit against the city for the hallway punching incident. Just disgraceful. Cops can do no friggin' wrong, and the whistleblowers are the ones that had their lives destroyed. That's what's so common. It's not that they can and they can't remove the guy from office. It has to go to the city council, and the city council can have him removed. But I think if you look at the videos, that the police chief had a point, and it's so rare that the police chief will actually go based on the actual evidence and show that the police officers, yeah, used excessive force. They especially in Daniel Shiba when they actually killed him. To say that they didn't do anything wrong, they gave contradictory commands. And the guy was actually absolutely terrified. He's crying for his life. It's absolutely heartbreaking to watch that video. To say that criticism of that is misplaced, and no, and this goes back to, this is a prime example. It's not just a few bad apples. This is a case where even the police chief comes out against what this improper use of force and tries to correct that, tries to improve the culture of the police department. And they give a vote of no confidence. They don't have any confidence in his leadership. So, one of the things that hit me was, this is part of the culture of police, but it's not just exclusive to police officers, because like in Adventures in Legal Land, where people will actually agree with something that they know is wrong because the group is going ahead. That's why polling can be so damaging, because if people feel already that a majority of people believe a certain way, then that could change their opinion, not based on the facts, not based on any rational discourse, not based on a rational argument, but strictly because it's most popular. And of course, that's, you have your classic, your classic logical fallacy, which is an appeal to popularity. So we know through the Ash conformity experience, people will, unless they can keep their vote secret, they will vote with the herd. Again, knowing that they're wrong, they will still vote with the herd. So I imagine there are a lot of cowardly police officers out there in Mesa. I know I've spoken and dealt with a few of them, my own, that wanted to be a part of the majority. They didn't want to stick out, because what happens when you stick out, if you are a police officer who opens up his mouth, we know from one of the most high-profile cases of Serpico, who was a New York police officer in the early 70s. There's a movie that was done based on his life and with what happened, where he was shot by by police. At least that's the way it was portrayed in the movie. I believe he actually could not live in the United States anymore because of threats against his life. And given that they almost killed him, I think those threats were to be taken seriously. So, I would imagine, I think that what we know about psychology through the Ash conformity experiment, cops don't want to be seen. No cop wants to be seen as a whistleblower, that they're not going to turn a blind eye because they can wind up getting killed. Maybe that they won't necessarily be shot by one of their own men, but hey, they will respond in an untimely manner to a call for help, which may result in the death of a police officer. Not that I'm one to, cry over the loss of a armed, enforcer for the state. But the whole thing, a few bad apples. Show me where that's a few bad apples with Mesa, when you got 95% going against the chief, who wanted to reform and wanted police held accountable. Yeah, a few bad apples. Here, I would imagine that when someone is being abusive, when someone is violating the 3 precepts of the law, and that being live honestly, injure no one, give every man his due. So, yeah, we see what happens with whistleblowers there. You want to join me on the call? I had a few callers. Hopefully join me back. 218-632-9399, 218-632-9399. The passcode is 2020 with the #. And let's see. Oh, I guess Tom's on his big communist thing. Speaking of communists, well, I don't think they're actually communists, but I know Tom would be on the rooftop crying about communism in California. I got to speak with a few tax agents this week. Oh, how those things! Yeah, franchise tax board, and typical what these people will do is just hang up the phone on you. They just hang up. That's what they do. When you back them into a corner and they've got nothing, they just hang up the phone, which is exactly what happens. So let me get to my page over here. Let me get back to when I spoke to these people. Man, I really jumped ahead now, didn't I? All right, here we go. There we are. We're getting back to it. Oh, I spoke to Shay. And once it got really down to the nitty gritty, she first admitted that that was the right department because it was filing enforcement. And I was filing enforcement because what they were they were alleging that a return was required, that there wasn't an assessment done, but they are saying that you're required by law to respond and that there's an obligation created by law to file a tax return. And so I asked Shay the same basic questions, and she did not take too well to this. She wound up hanging up on me. And so what she was trying, this is what they say when you're dealing with the tax agents at the state level, they will always say that their foundational claim is that you're physically in California, the laws apply. When you start asking them for proof of the claim, remember that which can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. Which is what, they disagree with that, which is why they use a prison system. That doesn't actually count for somebody with a prison system. So when I asked about facts that actually was true, then she turned around and tried to say, well, we have statements of income. So it doesn't matter if he's in California or not. And I said, okay, well, anybody who's listening to the show knows that's exactly what they do. We don't care if you're ever in California, as long as you have California source. So then you ask him, okay, so what facts so you're saying to me your position is that the compulsory income report is somehow evidence that the Constitution laws apply and that you have jurisdiction to require a return? Yes. Well, exactly how does forcing Acme under threat of jail, how does that prove that the Constitution applies? And then she tried to claim that I had to speak to a different department. But this is filing enforcement. You already said this was the right department. It's filing enforcement. So when I call her out on that BS, she just slammed the phone down. So I was able to call back, and I unfortunately got an agent that I think is new, and I don't think, look, I don't think I'm being out of line here by saying that tax agents are not the sharpest knives in the drawer, right? They're not. All right, we got some callers, so I'll get to that in just a second. So let me just finish up with this call. I'll make it very brief regarding what happened with Vanessa. Vanessa made the same claims because that's how they do it. She agreed you could be in China. It never set foot in the United States. If you have California source, the laws apply. And it creates obligations. I went through the same scenario. But and she just played stupid, or actually was stupid, because she says your question is so confusing. I don't understand what you're asking me for. All right, you said that if there's California source, if there's money from California, then the laws apply, and she's required to file a tax return. What facts do you have to show that claim is true? We have the reported income. Now, how does that prove the Constitution applies? Well, the Revenue and Taxation Code. Well, I have more on that, but I am kind of limited on time. So I'm going to put the cones on, and we're going to get to our callers. We've got Paul in Florida. Paul, welcome back to the show. Oh, you're kidding me. Paul in Florida. I have that all the way up, and I still have no audio. I don't know what happened there. I'm going to get a chance. I'm going to go to, looks like Phoenix. We have area code 602. You're live on the No State Project. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Wow, you got to turn down the feed. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I got you. You got. All right. I don't know what the hell's going on. I got another tech issue, so I'm going to drop off the caller line, and I have no idea why I'm plagued with. I have no idea. So what I'm going to do is I. I apologize, everybody. Again, I haven't slept in almost a week, and I can't deal with the tech issues right now. I don't know why. I did all the tests before the show, everything. All right. I'm going to do my best to get all the tech issues fixed, and I'll have to. Maybe I can do a live video from Facebook. It'll work a little bit better than YouTube. YouTube has been just a train wreck today. So I do apologize, everybody. I'm going to pull the plug here. I will not be able to do Saturday shows for at least the next 2 weeks. I will do my best to get multiple shows during the week. Everything should be better for the next show. I'm going to be doing it off of an Ethernet cable, and so the video and audio quality should be better, and hopefully I can get my caller line straightened out. I do appreciate the support of the show, those who will continue, especially after all these train wrecks, and tech issues. If you want to help support the show, it's markstevens.net and also markstevens.sales.com. And hopefully we'll be able to get together on the next Wednesday, and we won't have such tech issues. So, but till then, salute.